Alright, friends. So far, we've done two-dimensional shapes, and we've done triangles and quadrilaterals, just like four-sided shapes, like parallelograms and rectangles, squares, what else? Trapezoids, stuff like that. So we're going to move on to circles. And circles are kind of their own thing because they have some special rules. So in this video, we're going to start with just what are the parts of a circle and defining those. That way, when we move on to area and the perimeter of circles, we know what those parts are. Okay. So the first thing is called the diameter. So the diameter is the distance across the circle through the center. So it goes straight through the middle. Okay, if I went across the circle, that red line isn't going through the middle, so that wouldn't be the diameter. The diameter goes straight through the middle. Okay? And how we find it, if it's not labeled, is the diameter is labeled D for diameter, is twice the radius R. Okay? So here's a little formula for you to remember. The diameter is 2 of the radius. A radius is a distance from the center to any point on the circle. So it goes halfway across the circle from the center. So that could be a radius. If I drew one here, that blue line would be a radius. This green one would be a radius, right? From the center to any point on the outside of the circle is the radius. Okay? And so the radius, if the diameter goes the whole way across, the radius is halfway across. So the radius is just half of the diameter. So the diameter divided by 2. Okay? And then another special thing about circles is they have to do with this symbol pi. Okay? So it looks like this. That's one way to draw it. It's pronounced pi, like P-I-E. Okay? And it's a Greek letter. It's just a symbol that represents a number. Okay? And so it is found by the ratio of the circumference. And the circumference is the distance around the outside of the circle, kind of like the perimeter of the circle. Okay? So it's a ratio that has to do with the circumference of a circle and its diameter. Okay, so it's a ratio of the red part to the blue part. Okay, so when I take the circumference divided by the diameter, you get what's called an irrational number, which just means it's a number that repeats forever. Okay, it goes on and on and on. So when we approximate it, since it goes on forever, I can't write that. I don't want to take the time to write the whole thing of it, right? If I did that, it'd be 3.14159, and it just goes on and on. So we approximate it using 3.14, or the fraction 22 divided by 7. Okay? So diameter goes the whole way across, radius is halfway, and then we have this fancy symbol called pi that we approximate with 3.14. Okay, so what we can do is we can find the radius if we're given the diameter, or we can go the other way. We can find the diameter if we're given the radius. So I am going to start with my formula. Okay, the diameter is 2 times the radius, and I'm going to fill in what I know. Okay, so I know that right here, this distance across the middle is the diameter, and it's 16. So instead of D, I'm going to put 16 equals 2R. And now I'm going to solve. Okay, I want to solve for R. So I'm going to divide by 2, because 2 divided by 2 is 1. That gives me 1R. 16 divided by 2 is 8. So the radius is 8 feet long, which makes sense. If I was going halfway across the circle, it should be 8 if the whole way is 16. Okay? So another one. I'm going to start with my formula. The diameter is twice the radius. Then I'm going to fill in what I know. Well, right here, this is the diameter because it goes the whole way across. So instead of D, I'm going to put 18.8 equals 2 times the radius. And then I'm going to solve for R. I just want one radius. Right now there's 2, so I'm going to divide by 2. There we go. So I have 9.4 inches is the length of the radius, which you could probably deduct. So if the diameter is the whole way across, the radius is just halfway. Okay, so that makes sense. I would divide it by 2. So going the other way, if you have the radius, you can go the whole way across. So right now I have halfway and it's 11. And if I wanted to go another half, that would be 11 more for a total of 22. Okay, or we can use the formula still. The diameter is equal to 2 times the radius. So I can fill in what I know. Well, I don't know the diameter, but I know that it's 2 times, and my radius is 11. And then I solve. So the diameter equals 2 times 11 is 22 centimeters. Okay, that's it. Okay, one more example. Start with my formula. The diameter is equal to 2 times the radius. Fill in what you know. I'm looking for the diameter, so I'm going to leave that. 2 times. My radius up here is 9.7. And then I'm just going to multiply and solve. Two times 9.7 is 19.4 centimeters. Okay. You can also see that if this is halfway, I need another half to get the full way across. So I'm just going to add them together. And I also get 19.4. Okay. So this video is just part 1. So you're going to go through, oops, goodness. And on the part 1 practice, you're going to do 6 of the problems. Okay. Oops. Okay, here's the Google form. If you go to Google Classroom, under the assignment, if you click the instructions, just click the form. Okay. So you need to do 6 of them. So pay attention to if it's asking you for the diameter, or down here it's asking you for the radius. Okay? So then, once you finish part 1, go back, watch the video, and do the assignment for part 2.